Today I'm doing a video about intelligence. This is just from my point of view, and so I'm going to break it down into four different categories of how I view intelligence, and then explain how it has real world implications and how you can better understand the world around you and yourself because of it. So the four categories that I see are memory, short and long-term memory, like quick thinking, like ability to read a lot of content fast and then remember it. And those two things kind of go hand in hand, the quick thinking and the memory. And then there's deep thinking and systems thinking, which go closely together. And so like deep thinking would be able to, you'd get creativity involved with that. It would be like if you took an IQ test, like quick thinking would be, can I solve really simple problems very fast? And deep thinking might be, there's four multiple choice answers, but can I come up with a fifth like option that is also true? And there's people who can do unbelievably well on multiple choice IQ tests, but if you ask them, well, like what's another example of a true thing in this pattern recognition problem, they can't come up with any. And there's other people who can't get the correct answer as fast, or maybe can't get as many correct answers on these multiple choice, like these simple multiple choice IQ tests, but they're able to come up with an alternative answer. Like maybe they get confused because they go, oh, well, it's something that's not here. And then they pause and then they can't get through as many questions. And then supposedly their IQ is lower because of that. And systems thinking is like understanding complex problems. It's, instead of just memorizing like facts so you can do well on a chemistry test in school, it's how do you understand like biochemistry of the body? How do you understand ecosystems of like nature and how like the world all interconnects, where it's like there's plants and animals, and the animals like eat the plants and then they poop and pee, and that provides food for the plants to grow more. And so then the animals have more food to eat. And then there's bacteria that comes in and like, does certain things to make it so like the animals survive in the water and they don't just drown in their own pee. So the ability to understand how that whole thing works would be more like systems thinking. I mean, there's so many different ways where people break intelligence down, but these are just the four I'm going to key in on, and it simplifies things a bit, especially because the first two are kind of grouped together and the second two are kind of grouped together. And if you want an analogy, I would say if you think of deep thinking and systems thinking as like the software program that's inside of your brain, and you think of the memory and quick thinking as your ability to input data into your brain and then run the software program, so you kind of have these two different things going at the same time. Early on in life, the people who have good memories and are quick thinkers will be able to get more data in quickly, so they'll appear to be smarter. And also our school systems around the world tend to be set up to reward people who have good memories and are quick thinkers, in regards to they can learn lots of simple and maybe moderately complex things that other people have already figured out. They can learn those things quickly and spit them out quickly. So it means, oh, this person doesn't have to study a long time, or they could take like 7 courses their freshman year of college and get A's, like good, really good marks in all of them, because they're able to input massive amounts of simple information. But then later in life, typically it's more important to be a deep thinker and a systems thinker, because after many decades of living life, it's like, well, maybe one person took 20 years to learn X amount of information and like data to input, and another person took 35 years to do that. But after 35 years, they both have a massive amount of like important basic information about the world. And so the person who maybe learns slower, but has a better like software system in their head to process that information, so they're a better deep thinker and systems thinker, will end up appearing to be smarter, appearing to accomplish more as an entrepreneur, as someone who's an innovator or inventor or things like that. So sometimes people that have lower memory and are slower thinkers, in terms of like, they can only read 20 pages of a book per hour and retain the information, and another person can read all 30 pages. Obviously they're learning at different rates. But the simple learners oftentimes will plateau earlier in life. Like they feel like, oh my God, I was advancing, I was taking advanced classes, I skipped a grade, I got a really good job, I got a quick promotion. Because obviously it's like, well, if you get good grades and you get into a school with a good reputation, people assume you're smart. When you're 22, you're going to get lots of opportunities in life. But then it's like, well, what do you do with those opportunities after that? Because a lot of times it's like, well, once you have the basic information, you need to start learning the complex information. Or they want people who are going to be creative and innovative. They want people who are going to deeply understand like other people, not just be someone who can read books quickly, but they can understand the complexities of like the shifting emotions and likes and dislikes of coworkers, people they're managing, customers in a business, things like that. If you're in a different field, maybe there's some sort of like innovation, like, oh, we need to come up with a new solution to a problem that we have. And it's difficult for some people to do that, even though they might have gone to what are considered, say, a top university based on how quickly they could learn basic information when they were 14, 15, 16. That's how they got into Oxford or Harvard. But the software portion of their brain, their ability to input information is tremendously good. Their ability to convey that into something that provides a lot of value to like the world and businesses and themselves is maybe not as good. Now, there's obviously people who can do both. Elon Musk is the most extreme example of someone who probably checks every single one of these boxes. He said that when he was young, he had essentially a photographic memory. So he was able to quickly like read massive amounts of information and retain it. And obviously he's a very deep systems thinker to the point of almost like people think he's an alien. So obviously the person who can listen at a faster rate and read at a faster rate is going to be an advantage, even if they can retain the same amount of information. And then also if their memory is actually better, then that like enhances it, even more, because now they're listening or reading at twice the rate and remembering twice the amount of information. So they're actually learning 4 times as fast. And if they're good at finding like really smart people who can efficiently convey that information, then like forget about it, because they don't have to read a whole textbook. They're just like, oh, this person has podcasts that are really interesting. And in 10 hours of listening to podcasts, they can learn as much as someone who took like whole semester long university courses